Hey everyone, good morning. Dennis K here with Belize Real Estate, just sitting here drinking a coffee this morning. Thanks, by the way, for all of you who have been keeping my coffee cup filled. Steph and I really appreciate your support. So listen, this is part two. I came to you with a video on what I consider to be one of the top mistakes people make when it comes to investing in Belize. And just as a quick recap, I'm talking 30-second recap here, just be extremely cautious and wary of looking at properties, whether they be pre-construction condo projects or developments that are making promises such as pools, tennis courts, beach clubs, anything like that that is going to be dependent on future sales and the financial wherewithal of the developer. Go back and watch that. I go into all those details in that. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about the mistake of thinking that one particular property is going to meet and fulfill all your needs. And what I mean by that is, when I first started selling real estate in Belize, I would often ask, sorry, got a couple over here. Anyway, when I first started doing real estate in Belize, I would often ask the question, are you buying for personal use or financial return? What's more important to you? And almost everyone says, well, I'm buying for both. I want both. I want to have the highest and best use of the property myself, so me and my family and loved ones can come down, we can use the property, but I also want the highest financial return. All right, so that's the dream, right? One property, you show up, you buy the one property, house, condo, whatever it is, and you use it when you're there, and you live the dream, and you post pictures on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok of you, having the time of your life. And then the second you get on that plane to fly back home, wherever home is for you, then that property is just a cash cow, and it's just cranking out some dollars, right? So that's the dream. Reality is, that's hard to find anywhere in the world, all right? Anywhere in the world, that's hard to find, especially in Belize. And there are a lot of variables that go into it. And so I can give you guys a lot of examples on this. In fact, I might have a webinar where I just kind of crunch the numbers on, what it would take to have a home or a condo meet these different criteria budget-wise. And then realistically, how many days a year, how many months a year would you be using it yourself? Or, how many months a year would it rent out? How would it rent out? Would it be long-term? Would it be Airbnb by the night? And what that return would actually look like, and how much involvement there would be on your end to make that happen. So for the purposes of this video, what I want to talk about is, instead of looking at one property, because it's almost impossible to find one property or one unit that meets all those needs, what I would suggest is that whatever your budget is, let's try to help you find a minimum of 2, but perhaps even 3 properties that will accomplish all your goals and even give you more options, all right, than what your original goal might be. So how could I do this? Say your budget is $300,000. All right, 300, 400, 500,000. I know it's a big budget. A lot of you might not be looking at that dollar amount right now, but let's just say you have a budget of 300,000. Your immediate thought might be, what can I buy for 300,000 that I can use personally a couple months a year and then rent it out when I'm not there to make a return? All right, you can do that. You can find those properties. But it might be more interesting for you to look at buying a small condo, 1-bedroom condo or a small home for 200,000, reinvesting the other 100,000 into something else. That something else remains to be seen what that something else might be. Could be land, could be a mortgage, could be, a casita, who knows what that might be. To provide an additional means of income, maybe an income stream, an additional rental, a mortgage payment that's kicking off X number of % each year, and look at it like that, right? So the reason being is, if you have a place where you want to use and enjoy yourself, then location becomes very important, because where you spend your time in the island dictates your experience there, obviously, right? So if you're somebody who likes the reef, you're probably going to want to be on the reef side, or at least within close proximity to it. You're going to want to get a beachfront, second, third, fourth row, fifth row on the beachfront, or, off the beach, where you can take your kayak in the morning, grab it, go out there and snorkel and fish and just, have a great time on the reef side. If you're a person that likes Secret Beach, the West Coast, you're going to be wanting to buy and invest over on the West Coast. So use and enjoyment, you're going to really want to pay attention to the area. And that's why if you're buying for personal use and enjoyment, I recommend that you see the area, or at least have enough drone shots, video shots that you know what you're getting into. Now, when it comes to the financial investment, it doesn't matter where the property is. It can be anywhere in Ambergris Caye, and I mean anywhere. It can be so remote that, you got to bushwhack an hour into the jungle to get to it. But if the numbers make sense, if you calculate, how much is it going to cost, what's going to be the return, all these kind of things, it doesn't matter where the property is. It can be east, west, north, south, by the Mexican border, over by Cayo Espanto, doesn't matter. Because buying for a financial return is different than buying for personal use. Wouldn't you agree? So we kind of got to look at those types of things. So my most successful clients who come down and really start to get a toehold in the market, they don't just buy one property. They figure out what their goals are. How am I going to use the property short term? What does my usage look like in the next 1 to 3 years? All right. Realistically, 3 to 10 years, what does my usage look like? Is it going to open up to be even more because I'm retiring, or because I'm switching jobs, or something's going to happen in my life allowing me to use the property more in Belize? What is my financial return going to look like on a property? What is my goal on that? 1 to 3 years, to 10 to 15. The interesting thing about financial return is you can go out 10, 15, 20 years and make investments based on those returns, potential returns, because there's no urgency to those, right? So for example, I have properties that I'm investing in now for the short-term financial return. I'm talking 1 to 3 years. I have other properties that I've invested in for the 12 to 15 to 20 year range, because hopefully I'm going to be here in 15 to 20 years, and I'm going to want, my retirement padded as much as possible. And because I know Ambergris Caye very well, I know where the direction is going, I know what's coming up here, and I have a very strong belief in the future of the island. And so while a portion of my investments are going for short term, I'm putting more and more, because I'm 52 now, going to be 53 in January, I'm putting more and more of my investments into vehicles that are going to pay off long term. And I'm going to need that money then too, right? So I'm using my money now, use and enjoyment, but I'm also making sure Steph and I are cared for long term. So because we're doing that, of course, we can't do that with one property. We're looking at multiple properties. So I suggest the same thing for you guys. So the easiest thing for us to do, guys, is to jump on a Zoom call and kind of go over what you're looking to do in Belize. So if you would, kind of send me an email, outline briefly what you're looking to do, and let me know what your finances are, overall. And I know this is a subject that a lot of people don't like to divulge, especially to real estate agents, because you're afraid we're going to try to talk you into something that's more than you want to afford. And to me, that's not my style. If you have $100,000 to invest, tell me you have 50. All right, tell me you have 40, because I'm not one of those guys. I want especially the first few purchases for you to go really well. I want you to see, hey, you know what? This is doable. I can do this. Might be able to make a good return. If we can do that for you, you're going to gain some confidence. You're going to get to know the market. Then we can start to go after the bigger stuff. So start small. We can go after the big stuff later. Don't go all in on your first purchase. And so I'm going to leave this video here now. This is part 2. Again, so number one biggest mistake I see people make in Belize is buying into the dream based on pictures and plot maps and websites without doing your homework. And this includes condos and developments on the island or the mainland. Number 2, second biggest mistake I see people make is thinking that one property is going to meet all their needs. I think if you think that, it might be setting yourself up for some disappointment. because I think you can do a lot better, both personal use and financial return, by looking at spreading your budget out over 2 or 3 properties. And the third one I want to talk about, which is going to be tomorrow. I had 2 more that I thought I'd release to you guys. A third topic I want to talk about is not going all in, especially on your first deal. And there's a lot of reasons why I do not suggest this. Don't stretch it. Don't try to spend more than you reasonably can. Don't put yourself in a position where the investment in Belize all of a sudden has become a burden rather than a joy. And I'm going to be talking about how you can do that in my next video, part 3. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel if you like this. Try to get this message out to as many of you guys looking at Belize as possible. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Hope to see you in Belize real soon. Oh, thanks a lot for the coffees, man. These are awesome. Keep me fueled. And I'm about ready to go over and take a nice walk on the beach. You guys take care. Talk to you soon.